On today's episode of the Otaku Experience, Uncle Roger receives a copyright strike from Toei Animation for using clips of One Piece in one of his latest videos. Kimi no Todoke, From Me to You Season 3 is coming in 2024, and The Boy and the Heron will get a full teaser on Wednesday. All of that and much, much more. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Otaku Experience, the anime non-news show where we talk about the current goings-on in the anime and manga industry with our very uneducated opinions. I am once again your host, Israel. Now, before we start, I just need to preface this that there's not going to be a One Piece review in this episode. I wanted to watch, if you guys remember from the Thursday episode, I wanted to watch all of the live-action One Piece and talk about it on this Sunday episode of the Otaku Experience. That didn't happen. I didn't have time to watch the thing. I started doing this thing around me. A lot of people, are donating blood or plasma because that's a way to, make kind of a side income. And, time's been a little tough with the money. And so I did that yesterday. So there's my thing where they put in the fattest needle I've ever seen in my entire life. And so that was fun. It was supposed to go for 2 hours. It went for 3.5. And so I spent like half the day there yesterday. And so that was not fun. And so I didn't really have a chance to watch One Piece over the weekend like I wanted to, or at least I didn't get a chance to finish it. And so hopefully I will be able to fully review that on Thursday. So please forgive me for that. That's really all I have to say up front. There's nothing really else here. I mean, hey, this is like the second time we're doing a Sunday show. Like, are you guys getting into the new rhythm? You liking it yet? Maybe not? Okay, that's fine as well. With all that being said, we're going to get right into the news and into the stories. Starting with, so Nigel NG, or Uncle Roger, got a copyright strike from Toei Animation, I believe last week, on one of his recent videos entitled Uncle Roger Reviews One Piece Japanese Curry. This is a series that Uncle Roger does on his channel, where he just watches different things, particularly Asian cuisine or Asian food. He reacts to different cooking videos. He does like YouTube shorts and stuff. He's gone incredibly viral over the past year, and he covers those types of things, whether there's from real people like other content creators cooking Asian food, or he's talking about anime doing it. In this particular case, he was talking about One Piece episode 133, to be specific. And he was reviewing an episode where they are cooking a Japanese curry, and it's about 12.5 minutes long. And he kind of cuts back and forth where he watches a part of the anime, dissects it, talks about it, goes back to watch more of the anime, talks about it a bit more, and then does that. And that's like almost the entire 12.5 minute video is him going back and forth. Now, for reference, I am also an AniTuber outside of the Otaku Experience on the Burnett network. My main channel, Kingtanic, I've been copy struck before. I've gotten a copyright strike, and it was for a series that I do called Badame, where at the time I was doing it about once a month. I would watch some of the worst reviewed anime of all time and search for the worst anime. I'm hoping to bring that series back in the future if you guys want to check that out. I think they're some of my best videos. I think they're really funny. But it started out just doing one episode at a time. I would just watch the first episode of a series and then be like, okay, this is awful. I'm not going to finish it. And that would be the entire video. And it would go on for about 30 minutes. I would react to the thing, and then I would talk about it for like 10 minutes about how bad it was, how awful, and then kind of rank it in like the tier list of bad anime that I've seen. One of the anime, or the only anime that I got copy struck on, was an anime that I was doing in Badame, and it was called Masame-kun's Revenge. So this is a series about just a guy. It's like a typical slice of life comedy, kind of romance in there a little bit too, and it's not really well reviewed. And so I watched it, but that video got copy struck, got taken down, and I got a copyright strike for 3 months. And so I was very cautious going forward, because if you don't have a YouTube channel, or you don't know how those YouTube strikes work. If you get 3 of them, your channel gets terminated. And so you get 1, you're already on like that way. And they add up. And so I was kind of being careful. I didn't do a Badame for until after that strike left. And I was scared. And I haven't re-uploaded the video since, just because I don't want it to come back, for the same video, just re-edit it or something like that. And the reason I bring this up is, from my experience, there is no fair use in Japan, and so the anime studios don't really have that like we do in the States, and even what we have in the States or in North America isn't all that great because people still get copyright struck all the time for using movie clips and stuff like that. It's really weird, and so when you do it with anime, it's like that plus 9,000. You know what I mean? And so you have to be very strategic in the type of anime footage you use, unless you have a deal with anime studios to let you use their content. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe Garnt or Giguk in Japan, I believe he has a, he kind of has a, because he lives in Japan, I believe he has sort of like a waiver, or he's allowed to make anime content for whatever the reasons are there. He's been able to sign a contract that allows him to make content there. I could be wrong about that, but I believe that's the case. And so with my channel now, especially when I do something like a seasonal review video where I talk about, 7 to like 15 different anime that I watched in an anime season, and it's like an hour long, sometimes closer to 2 hours. And that entire time I'm showing clips from different anime. Here's some of the tips and tricks that I've learned. You cannot show sort of a small sequence of events almost in its entirety. And that's sort of what he was doing here. In this Uncle Roger video, he was taking this clip of, he was taking this episode, and he was taking the clip where they're cooking the curry in the episode of One Piece, and he stops it. He'll cover, like 10 seconds. He'll stop it. He'll talk about it. And then he'll play the next 10 seconds. He'll talk about it. And then he does that. And so if you add it all together, like just edit out the parts of him talking, you still have that entire segment of the episode. Whereas people who are constantly in the AniTuber sphere or are constantly, making YouTube videos with anime footage in them, you have to be very strategic in that. For me, what I've found is the 10-second rule. Never show a clip for longer than 10 seconds with audio. Even without audio, don't do it. Longer than 10 seconds. And then you cannot show what happens directly after that. You can maybe show 30 seconds after that. You can cut to like a minute after that, but never directly after. You can never show a sequence of events as they are, basically untouched, or even, with commentary in between. It's still like, if you take that out, it's still an untouched piece of content. If you add it all together, that the studio still views that as you stealing their content. And so the way to kind of get around that is, one, I really try to avoid using dialogue or sound effects or anything from the anime in my videos. I usually keep it to me talking with music in the background with the thing. And only when I absolutely need to, if I need to show a line or if I need to show a sound effect or something like that, I make sure it doesn't last longer than 10 seconds. And I also edit it. So if someone's talking, it'll be kind of like those annoying YouTube short videos you've seen, or people who don't know how to edit their YouTube video, where they edit in between every single gap between words and sentences. And it's very annoying because it doesn't sound natural. When you're making an anime video, you kind of have to do that in order to you just have to make this as short as possible, tight and sweet. There was this clip that I did in the fall 2022 seasonal review that I did from Arcanite's Prelude to Dawn. Shout out to that. That was my anime of the year last year. Where there's this character named W who sang a line, and I thought the line was so powerful and so great that I wanted to include it because I didn't want to just say what the line was. I wanted to show what the line was in its context. And so I used that line, and the line's about 8 seconds long. But what I did was I went between every word and everything and just closed it so it's right on top of each other. So that way people can still hear the line, still hear her inflection and her voice when she says it. So that way they get that dramatic effect. But at the same time, I can't show that full clip because that increases the chance of me getting copyright struck. And that's kind of the case here. And I'm not saying that he didn't know this or that whatever the case may be. I'm just saying it's such a small line, and luckily smaller creators kind of fly under the radar a bit, and bigger creators, it's easier to spot when they break a rule. So he's kind of dealing with that as well. And also just Toei Animation, if you don't know, is known for also, being one of the most popular anime studios ever. But they are also known for being one of, if not the most strict studio when it comes to their content being used in videos, particularly when it comes to their crown jewel, One Piece. They don't let anyone touch that, ever. And so it's really scary. If you guys have ever wondered why we've never really shown footage or anything on the Otaku Experience, it's mainly that reason. Not just with One Piece, but with anything in particular. We just don't want the Burnett work, which isn't even my main channel. I don't want to cause, Rob's livelihood or, all the people that are getting paid by Rob to work on the channel. I don't want to jeopardize any of that by giving them a copyright strike by using the footage. So that's mainly why we use images on this, or I just describe what I'm seeing or describe what the heck we're talking about rather than showing you footage. And so Toei Animation is kind of known for being like this. And so that's why One Piece content is in particular really hard to do. And I believe Naruto's up there as well. Like there's a few anime that it's like, you just don't touch it. It's just really hard to do and hard to navigate that. And so it's really, really difficult. So after Uncle Roger got his community strike, he got his copyright strike, he made a community post where he kind of let his audience know what was up, what was going on, and he was like, hey, y'all need to watch the video before it gets taken down. As of Sunday, when I'm recording this, the video is still up. I was able to find it when I found the story, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. I don't want to stir up any drama or anything like that, but I just thought, big content creator. He has over 8 million subscribers, covers, something in brand cooking content. It just happened to be from One Piece, where he still edits up the thing over a 12-minute period. I just kind of wanted to, after watching the video myself, in my experience, break down why this most likely happened in my own experience, having been copyright struck before. And so it's such a hard thing to do in this space. And it makes it so irritating because, and I'm sure it happens to movie YouTubers and TV shows and whoever, that it happens all the time to them. But particularly in the anime space, AniTubers are used to constantly uploading a video. It gets declined, it doesn't allow you to upload it because of the copyright stuff on it, or it'll allow you to upload it, but you get demonetized on that video. And so we take it down, we re-edit it, we re-upload it, and we just kind of do a trial and error until it allows us to do it. And sometimes it'll allow you to do it, and then a couple days later, you'll still get a strike because sometimes it can be manually done rather than by the YouTube AI system. And so it's just such a really, really, sensitive issue in terms of how to navigate it. And so it really sucks. I really feel for Uncle Roger because I've seen some of his videos. I've seen a ton of his shorts. The guy is super funny. I love his commentary on this stuff. And it is what it is, and we can't really do anything about it, but it does suck because while those of us who live in the States have fair use, it doesn't really exist in Japan. And so they're kind of like, well, why should we oblige to your rules just because you're using our content that was made over here, over there? And I kind of get that. But it does at the same time make it just a little more difficult and a little harder for everything like that. I do want to show this real quick because I did save this image in case I needed it. Look at that. What is that, a fox or something? Is that a cat? Yeah. That smiley thing. It's like, nah. That thing is sinister. That thing will copyright strike you in an instant. But that being said, guys, what are your thoughts on the Uncle Roger and Toei Animation copyright strike debacle situation? It is a shame, but it is, I guess, part of the process of using anime footage in your videos. I hope that he's able to re-edit it, or maybe, put a watermark over the footage or whatever that may be, distort it in a way, whether that's mirroring it or, inverting the colors or maybe all black and white. I don't know. People find ways around it all the time, but I hope that he is able to re-upload the video because I enjoyed the video. And it sucks that it is being taken down purely just because of a cooking sequence being spread out over a 12-minute period is just breaking the guidelines for Toei Animation. I don't know. That being said, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Go check out the video if you haven't already. It's a good video, and it's going to be taken down. I don't know if he's going to re-upload it or re-edit it or whatever, but in case it doesn't, I think it's a good video, and it just kind of really sucks that this is the way that things are, but nothing we can really do about it. But that being said, guys, what are your thoughts on this? And we're going to move on into the next story, which is Kimi no Todoke, an anime that aired all the way back, I believe, in 2008 or 2009, is finally getting a season 3 coming next year in 2024. I believe the second season aired in 2011, so it's still been over a decade since the last time this came on. And so this was a big surprise to everybody. If anything, we thought that it would, get a reboot or something like that, but it's coming back, which is surprising. They are bringing back the same voice actors. And real quick, this story dropped like right before I filmed, so I grabbed what I could. So if I missed some details or anything like that, please forgive me and please throw some stuff into the comments down below. But I did want to cover it because it's a big story, but it dropped like minutes before I was about to start. So please give me some grace here. But they are getting it. The third season is getting a Netflix release. And I don't know if it's the same studio that's going to be producing it, just distributing it through Netflix. Or whatever the case may be there, or if Netflix just acquired the rights and they're the ones bringing it back. However that's playing out, this is a very popular slice of life anime, and so people are very excited to bring it back. But since it's so old, I figured that I would read the synopsis to you guys in case you guys have not heard about this. Known for her semblance to the Sadako character of the Ring series, Sawako Kuronoma is given the nickname Sadako and misunderstood to be frightening and malicious like her fictional counterpart, despite having a timid and sweet nature. Longing to make friends and live a normal life, Sawako is naturally drawn to the cheerful and friendly Shoto Kazahaya, the most popular boy in her class. From their first meeting, Sawako has admired Kazahaya's ability to be the center of attention and aspires to be like him. When Kazahaya organizes a test of courage for the entire class and encourages her to attend, Sawako sees this as an opportunity to get along with her classmates, starting with Ayane Yano and Chizuru Yoshida. Through each new encounter and emotion she experiences, Sawako believes that meeting Kazahaya has changed her for the better. Little does Sawako know her presence has also changed Kazahaya. So, it's a romance, slice of life, anime, right up my alley. I love it. I'm excited this is coming back. I'm excited to watch it next year. It didn't say what season, or at least I didn't see it. If it did say it, it didn't say what season that it was going to be coming out next year, but it did say it was going to be coming out next year. I'm hoping that this is a summer release, but looking at like the fact that they're in like winter clothes, this could be a winter release, or this could be a fall release. I guess we'll find out eventually. That's really all to say about it. I'm sure more details will be coming out as we get closer to that, as we get trailers and stuff like that. But for now, pretty exciting news. That being said, we're going to move right on to the next story, which is The Boy and the Heron is getting an official teaser on Wednesday. I've manifested this. We've talked about this, how I am the protagonist. No, but if you guys haven't been watching the Otaku Experience, or if you're new, hello, welcome. Basically, Ghibli never decided to to market this anime film in Japan. And they were like, yeah, we're just going to release a poster and hope everybody comes out to see it. And we're like, and I think that its box office performance, while okay, is indicative of the fact that they should have marketed this movie. At least like give us a clip. But they've started marketing it for its international release, where it's going to be going to festivals, and it's going to be coming to the States in IMAX, I believe in November or early December. And so to me, they're making a very aggressive Oscars play, and they really want people to come out and see this, so that way they can get that momentum. That being said, earlier today on this was Friday, on GKid's YouTube channel, who's going to be distributing the film to North America, they have uploaded a pre-teaser teaser for The Boy and the Heron on Friday, and it had a bunch of like text on it. It was like 30 seconds of text. There was nothing, no footage really. It was a bunch of text that was kind of with this really amazing piece of music, and I was like, is this the score? Like, because it sounds amazing. But regardless, they gave us a bunch of text here that was like moving with the score, like lines would show up on beat and like fade in and fade out. It was really, really cool. But anyways, we got this. A young boy named Mahito, yearning for his mother, ventures into a world shared by the living and the dead. There, death comes to an end and life finds a new beginning. It's kind of like a poem. A semi-autobiographical fantasy about life, death, and creation in tribute to friendship from the mind of Hayao Miyazaki. And then they just have the logo, The Boy and the Heron. And so this is the official logo that they have for it as well. And so, this was pretty exciting. Like this pre-teaser teaser was kind of funny, but, just because it's a pre-teaser teaser, I just think that's funny. Watch the teaser for the teaser, baby. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of goofy. But anyways, I'm just excited that we're actually going to see some of this footage. We're going to see the voice acting, or I guess we would hear the voice acting. We're going to see everything, kind of blend together. The music, the directing, the writing, the voice acting. We're going to kind of see a taste of that and see what this is going to feel like. I have no doubt it's going to be amazing because it's Ghibli, it's Hayao Miyazaki, of course. But we got a little teaser. I thought the poem was kind of nice. It was kind of cool. It's kind of alluding to the tone and the themes, and kind of a vague, I guess, what you can expect from the story there, which I thought was a fun way to go about it. Is like, actually, I changed my tune on this. This isn't, I mean, it's goofy that it's a pre-teaser, but I think it's very effective in establishing the tone, and being that it is coming from Hayao Miyazaki. I think this is going to be pretty cool. Full teaser is coming on Wednesday, so we will cover that on the Thursday episode. But that being said, guys, what do you think about The Boy and the Heron teaser? Are you excited for this? Let me know what you're thinking down below. And we will cover the full trailer or teaser, I guess, on Thursday. And that being said, we're going to move right into the next story, which is the Scott Pilgrim anime will expand on the characters according to the showrunners and even the creator. And so in a Los Angeles Times interview, they were talking about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, the upcoming anime series on Netflix for Scott Pilgrim, I believe continuing from the movie. And Brian Lee O'Malley, the Scott Pilgrim creator and also the showrunner, said this: we're trying to get into people's heads more, because when I was 25 years old, I didn't know what these people were feeling necessarily, but I've seen a lot more life and I have more context for those characters now. And so I guess what he's saying is he's going to be able to, get inside these characters' head more. We might get some inner monologues. We might get some, more, emotional or mental context for these characters' actions and their state of mind and what's going on there, rather than just seeing their actions, which I think is pretty interesting. It can get a lot deeper. I like that. And then Ben David Grabinski, who is one of the showrunners but not the creator, he says, in another quote, Ramona especially, it's been so fun to try to just give you so much more of an emotional connection to her and adding as much shading as we can. So like I said, they're going to be, like I just said before, they're going to be, basically adding to the depth of these characters and making you feel more attached to them, because they're going to feel more real, because they'll have that depth to them that, according to Brian Lee O'Malley, the creator, at the time, he just didn't have to infuse into those characters. O'Malley then had one more quote where he said, I think my main regret that I've expressed about the books is that I didn't get enough time to develop the evil axes. Especially after knowing the casting, it felt like, oh, we should have had more scenes with the evil X's. And so it sounds like it's not going to be a one-to-one adaptation of the comics or anything like that. It's going to be, in line to it, but he's going to make changes based on where he is now as a creator and stuff. He's going to make it feel more natural. He's going to add more depth to it, which I'm fine by this. If you know me, if you watch like my channel, or if you've heard me say this before, that I don't really, in concept, I don't think that one-to-one adaptations are better inherently. I can see the value in them, especially if the story is already perfect and it'll translate very well to a different medium. But I think that changing it's called an adaptation. You adapt. And so you change it to fit something better. That's been one of my long criticisms of anime, is that even though I still love anime and it's great, one of the biggest flaws I see in still a lot of anime series is that it just feels like they are adapting the book. Like they just took the book, they animated it, or if it's a manga or a webtoon or a web novel or a visual novel, whatever the case may be. If it's a video game, it's like they just took that and animated it. And it's like, I feel like an anime structurally, conceptually is so much different than a book. And so you have to approach it differently. It can be the same story overall. It can have the same heart, the same feeling. The characters can be true to the characters in there. But it doesn't have to be a one-to-one. You can cut out scenes. You can change things. You can recontextualize things to make it a better experience in terms of the anime. And every time I mention this, I always get like people fighting back against me for it. And I'm like, dude, I don't know how this is like a bad take. I think this is like the most natural and easy take to have. And so we have a creator here who's saying it's not going to be a one-to-one adaptation. There's going to be changes because one, it needs to change to be adapted into a television show, but also because I'm in a different space as a creator. And as a showrunner, I can now express something that I couldn't express at the time when I was writing the comics. and it can be, in my opinion, a better thing. And when I say my opinion, I'm saying that as the creator. I'm not talking about me. And so I think this is great. I mean, if you look at things like the Marvel movies, and I know that that's like a super hot topic, but let's say just phases 1 through 3. One of the biggest things about them is they were true to the characters of the comics, and they were true to the stories. Like Civil War at its core is true to the Civil War comic, but it's not a one-to-one adaptation. And no one cared because it was great. But there's this thing in the anime community where this seems to be like this, like, no, you can never change it. Why would you change it? Why would you do that? It's perfect. Leave it. And it's like, well, have you ever considered that maybe there could be a better way to do this in a different medium? No, poppycock, never, could never happen. And it's like, okay, bro. I mean, fine. If you want to think that, you can think that. But to me, it's always been an irritating thing because especially when I watch things like the ReZero season 2. It's not called the ReZero, but ReZero season 2. And I know that already had a ton of adaptations in it where they cut things out or whatever. But I still felt like they could have cut more out because I felt the pacing was that of a book, whereas I wanted the pacing to be more of a show. To me, the pacing was very slow in season 2, and to me, it just didn't really fit naturally. I think that in Sword Art Online, it's still a very close one-to-one adaptation, for the most part. But when they got to things like Alicization or War of Underworld, they had to change some moments and recontextualize some things because of stuff that they did in the anime that was different already. So they had an original movie called Sword Art Online Ordinal Scale that took place between seasons 2 and season 3, or between the Mother Rosario arc and the Alicization arc. In the light novels, that doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. But in the anime universe, Ordinal Scale is canon. It happened. And so there's going to be ramifications for that. And so characters that appear in Ordinal Scale that we're introduced to show up in War of Underworld, and they just have to kind of rewrite some things for that. But it gives it a better experience in the anime, knowing that things matter, because if they just kept it a one-to-one, it would be kind of like, well, I feel like Ordinal Scale is kind of pointless now. It feels like I kind of wasted my time, or that meant nothing, or that those characters don't mean anything to this story. And I don't think you want your audience to feel like that. I think you want them to feel like everything is supposed to be the way that it is, and give them ultimately the maximum experience they can have in an anime format. And I just think that, I'm not saying that one-to-one adaptations are bad. I think Attack on Titan has done great with being basically a one-to-one adaptation. But I'm not, and I'm not saying that, changing it is inherently better. I'm saying that don't just naturally be opposed to changing something, because odds are it might be better and it might need it. Does that make sense? And I think both can be great, and I think both will benefit from it. Because to me, I look at the anime library and I look at the manga library, and I'm like, these are the same thing. One is just animated and one's not. And that it really, I guess, sours my it sours my experience as a fan of this, of anime and manga, because it's like, well, I could read the manga of that show, but it's just going to be the same story. Like, there's not going to be anything there. Like in The Lord of the Rings, there's characters that are cut out. There's like entire plot parts that are cut out from the books for the movies. And it makes the movies better. And then you can go and read the book and still overall get the same story, but you can have a different experience with it. And I feel like that with manga doesn't exist. Whenever I've gone back to read a manga or watch an anime of a manga that I've read, more often than not, it is basically a one-to-one, scene-for-scene, almost line-for-line recreation. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but me personally, I wish that I could experience the same thing, but in a different way. And I know that I'm watching it, like it has sound, it has music, it's animated, it has voice acting. Okay, cool. All fair points, But I wish I was able to be like, yeah, I know where that's going. Oh, wow, that's a different way to go about that one thing. Like, I never saw her character like that, but them adding in that one shot, or them, the way like her eyes move in this one thing, insinuating something else that I never thought of while reading the manga. You can do stuff like that, and it makes you think, and it makes you look at things differently. In Mushoku Tensei, there's this one part at the end of season 1 where Eris and Rudius, they do the Devil's Tango, they get together, and then she leaves him, she abandons him. And I rant about this in my fall 2021 seasonal review, but I hate how how they edited out something that was in the manga. And I've heard people like, well, actually, Israel, it's based on a light novel. It's not based on the manga. Okay, but the manga did it better, so fight me. There's a scene, or there's a single shot that makes the scene so much better, because when I watched it in the anime, I didn't like it. I was like, well, Eris freaking sucks. Like, I was like, whoa, okay. Why is this like, why are these characters bad? Then I read the same scene in the manga, and I had a wildly different experience where I understood Eris on a completely different level, where her actions made so much more sense to me. And they didn't have any lines. It wasn't a big sequence of events or anything like that. It was one panel, and it was her. Rudius was asleep on the bed after they did the thing. His arm was stretched out like this. She was laying on his arm, and it cuts to her, and she has tears in her eyes, and they're streaming down her face. That one panel, and that's all I'm going to say about it in case you haven't watched it or in case you haven't read it. I want you to be able to experience it for yourself. But that one panel recontextualizes that entire scene, or maybe not recontextualizes it, but it gives so much more understanding and an emotional connection to what she is going through and to what she is doing, that you just completely understand her. When they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, that's true. And that image there completely changes what I saw there. And I was like, if you didn't stick to just doing the light novel because this was how it was done in the light novel, and you were like, maybe, hey, because this is a visual medium, maybe if we just show a singular shot of Eris, it'll be a totally different experience. But, you know, one can dream. I don't know what this turned into. This was supposed to be talking about Scott Pilgrim, but then I just started ranting about stuff. Welcome to the Otaku Experience, where I rant about things. But that being said, guys, what do you think about this? Give me your thoughts on everything I just ranted about. If you turned off the thing and you came back, if you're watching the premiere, or if you just skipped ahead to the next topic, I don't blame you. But that being said, we're going to move on into the next topic, which is the Fruits Basket author and creator is launching a new manga. So Hakusensha, a publishing company, announced earlier today, actually. I was about to say yesterday, but announced earlier today that Natsuki Takeya, who is the author and creator of Fruits Basket, the critically and audience acclaimed manga and anime, has a new manga starting tomorrow on the Manga Park app. It's going to be called Kakumo Chisaki Sekai Nite, or In Such a Small World, and they do have a little bit of a synopsis here. Sui Nodura, or age 23, left her home. Her apartment neighbor, Karu Seto, 21, suddenly barges into her house. It turns out that Seto's dog, Tino, had entered the veranda of Sui's apartment. This encounter gently blends into Sui's life. So it sounds like it's going to be, you know, another slice of life romantic thing, which this author is very, very good at. It's going to be peak fiction. We know this. Fruits Basket is amazing. If you haven't read it or watched it, do yourself a favor, do that. Oh my gosh, the tears, crying all the time. It's great. So sad. I love it. It's fantastic. And so odds are this will probably be adapted eventually, like Fruits Basket was adapted. I assume this is going to be great. Like I just said, I'm probably going to wait for the anime because I don't know, the way that this author writes, when you add voice acting to it and music, it like comes to life in a different way. And I'm sure that it's still a great experience reading it, but I would prefer to watch it. And hey, if an anime announcement doesn't happen in like the next 3 years, I might go read it just to do it. But I hope to watch it as my first experience, because watching Fruits Basket, oh man, that destroyed me. But that being said, guys, what are you thinking about this? Are you going to go to the Manga Park app and read this, or do you already have it and you're going to read this, or did you not like Fruits Basket? If you did, unsubscribe. I don't want you. No, I'm just kidding. But let me know your thoughts on that. That's an interesting take that not many people have. That being said, guys, we're going to move on into the next topic. Oh wait, I forgot to show you this. Here's the image of it. Sorry. This was such a short thing that I forgot to show you the image. There's the image. Yeah, wow. Okay, great. But that being said, guys, what are your thoughts on this? Next topic. So the first Slam Dunk has finished its box office run in Japan, and so we're going to be talking about its final box office numbers. We talked about this on Thursday and how it passed $106 million, in terms of US dollars, and I believe it was around 15 billion yen or whatever in Japanese yen. And so we have this here, it has now finished its run. It ranked first on Thursday, which was its final day in theaters, and it finished at selling 10.88 million tickets for 15.73 billion yen, or around $107.6 million. This is now the 13th highest earning film of all time in Japan, and it's the 7th highest earning anime film in Japan, surpassing Ponyo, which we talked about on Thursday. Now, looking back on its release, it opened back in December, on December 3rd. It won a bunch of awards, including the Animation of the Year at the 46th Annual Japan Academy Film Prizes. Toshiyuki Matsui, the film's producer, received this year's General Award for Eiga Engeki Bunka Kyokai, or Film Theater Culture Association's 42nd Annual Fujimoto Awards. The film won the Axis Satoshi Kon Award for Excellence in Animation for Best Animated Feature, and it won third place for Best Animated Feature in the Audience Award category of the 27th Annual Fantasia International Film Festival, which was held from July 20th to August 9th in Montreal, Canada. It also, of course, had a North America release, and this, great run. There's not really anything I can say that I haven't said over the course of the past few months that we've been talking about this. Fantastic run. It just kept doing it again and again and again. It just kept being like, okay, maybe it'll slow down. Oh, okay, no, it didn't. Okay, maybe it'll slow down. No, okay, it didn't. Okay, maybe it's no, it didn't. Okay, really, really good. It's doing better than The Boy and the Heron in Japan, which I don't think it should have, but it is. So that's something that they can put on its tally, put on its cap or whatever. And number 7 all-time anime, 13 all-time in Japan. This is freaking fantastic. And this is just how much it made in Japan, the 107. I believe it's closer to like 150 worldwide. Great run for this. Fantastic. Congratulations to everybody who worked on the first Slam Dunk. This was a bona fide success. And I look forward to watching it when it eventually does drop on digital, because I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters. But that being said, guys, what are your thoughts about this? What did you think about The Boy and the Heron? And what do you think about its box office run? I think it's nothing short of freaking astounding. But that being said, guys, this would usually be the part where we talk about the Goofy Woofy anime community, but there is no Goofy Woofy anime community. Once again, for this episode, nothing funny is happening. So hopefully we will get back to that on the Thursday episode. And so with all the news out of the way, we're going to go directly into the Anime Corner Summer 2023 audience rankings. All right, so at number 1, we have Bleach 1000 Year Blood War: The Separation, which is the same rank it was last week, and that got 9.12% of the vote. Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead is a re-entry into the top 10 after it got delayed, and it is at number 2 with 6.89% of the vote. Mushoku Tensei Season 2 dropped from rank 2 to rank 3, and got 5.71% of the vote. At number 4, we have Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, which is a re-entry into the top 10 and got 5.4% of the vote, starting its new arc. Dark Gathering is at the same rank that it was last week at number 5, and it got 5.12% of the vote. Bungo Stray Dogs 5 is at the same rank as it was last week at number 6, and it got 4.88% of the vote. My Happy Marriage went down 3 spots from rank 4 to rank 7, and that got 3.55% of the vote. Undead Girl Murder Farce went down 5 spots from rank 3 to rank 8, and that got 3.23% of the vote. My Tiny Senpai went up 6 spots from rank 15 to rank 9, and that got 3.18% of the vote. Rurouni Kenshin 2023 went down 2 spots from rank 8 to rank 10, and that got 2.8% of the vote. And that being said, guys, we're going to move right into responding to your comments and questions from last week's episode. If you want to get a comment or question on the next episode of the Otaku Experience, all you have to do is jump down into the comment section down below. Talk about anything you want. I mean, of course, if you're like calling me slurs and stuff, I probably won't read it. But, talk about anime, manga. If you want to ask me, about my life or whatever, go about it. And we're going to now talk about what you guys had to say. Starting with Sam Fisher 6606. The visuals were not dark at all. I assume we're talking about One Piece. Not for me, at least. Maybe the settings on your TV were weird. I love that we got to see stuff they on-screened in the manga like Zoro or Mr. 7. I was not expecting them to make it so clear that Zoro has killed people. It's been more ambiguous in the source material, and I love how they did the wanted posters. The wanted posters were great. Those effects, those are fantastic. I disagree. I think that the visuals were super freaking dark, and I think that was the case with all the trailers, regardless of whether I watch it on my phone or on my computer or on a TV. All dark. And I myself have have done those TV settings. I've calibrated that TV myself. I've calibrated many TVs over the course of years, whether that's my TVs or my parents' TVs or friends' TVs, whatever. I've calibrated many of them. I know what I'm doing. I know how to fix the brightness and everything to be set to what I want it to be and how it looks, and nothing else looks wrong. It was only when I put on One Piece. And so if I have to recalibrate the TV just to watch One Piece, I think that's more of a Netflix thing than a me thing. But thanks for your comment. And yeah, dude, the wanted posters, man. That's all I got to say. Next one coming in is Even L229. It was so good, I was feeling immersed in the world. Dude, same. I assume we're once again talking about One Piece, which is what I assume most of these comments are going to be about. It was so freaking good. I, as well, was feeling very immersed. I'm just so baffled at how good it is. I can't wait to watch the next episode. It's freaking fantastic. The third one we have is, I have to admit, I enjoyed the show, from Barrett8. The pacing and the direction is a bit off, but costumes and performances are fantastic. While watching and occasionally grinning, I wondered, could this series be the next Pirates of the Caribbean franchise? Well, I don't see it becoming a movie franchise, but if you mean like something on par, like in the pop culture thing, I could see that. It's not going to be a movie. There's just way too much story to tell. I can see them doing this in maybe 5 seasons like they're doing with Stranger Things, especially since Stranger Things is going to be ending soon, whenever the strikes end, that's when they'll start filming. But when Stranger Things is gone, I think One Piece is their next big franchise, that and The Last Airbender. And so I think they'll kind of want to milk those as long as possible, as long as they're still doing good numbers, which it seems like this is doing freaking fantastic. But I think in terms of what it means pop culturally, yes, but I don't see this becoming like a movie franchise, unless they want to end it with a movie, which they could do. Going to Idols 2.0. Sorry, you're wrong, at least how I saw it. It's not dark. I watched the first episode on a QLED, second on an LCD, and the third on an OLED, and in no way was it dark. My OLED is calibrated and the other two are not. Check your settings. It really isn't over dark, and I'm usually sensitive to dark presentations. Other than that, I agree with you. I loved it. I disagree. I have calibrated the stuff myself, and I know how to do it. It's also dark whenever I watch clips or, watch the stuff on my computer or watch it on my phone. It's not my TV. It's the show itself. And so maybe y'all just didn't think it was dark. I think it was dark, bro. I mean, I could see what was happening, but I'm just like, no, okay. I could see what was happening in the day. There was some night sequences, like when Kobe was like in the bottom of the ship and he was like looking around, and that's where he found Luffy. I couldn't see any of that until I turned off the lights. It's freaking ridiculous. It was garbage. It's kind of like what everybody was saying about Wakanda Forever. They thought that was really dark, which I actually didn't think it was that dark. Marcus Bisma 5015 says it's surprisingly good. It is. It is. Everybody called me a madman when I finally changed my tune and was like, guys, it might be good. And everybody was like, hey, slow down, Israel. Calm your horses. And I was like, no, guys, trust me on this. It might be good. Going over to Amazing Kevin W. Clark. I completely agree, or this is a reply to Barrett, it looks like. I completely agree. Having Luffy with an Indian accent is a bit weird, like when he says Monkey D. Luffy, but the actor actually is growing on me at times. I just don't like that they ruined his grand introduction, although they did that to all the characters. I don't know if I'd agree with that, with the grand introduction being ruined. I thought that it was still like pretty fun and over the top and pretty cool. I didn't hear an accent when he was saying Monkey D. Luffy. If anything, I figured he was maybe mimicking how the Japanese actors said it. But other than that, no, I didn't notice that. Thanks for the comment. And then we have Eucalyptus 5496. The One Piece is real. I told you. Yep. Joe Biden promised he would make anime real, and he delivered. Okay. And the last comment is from Ellipsis 10, and they said, I want HBO to adapt Attack on Titan. Ooh. That's interesting. I don't want them to touch Attack on Titan yet. Wait it out. I think that the fact that we got One Piece is very surprising. It's very good. We need to take it slow. We can't just be like, adapt everything. Adapt all the big franchises. No, don't touch them. Leave them alone. I do think that it's kind of poetic. I was talking to my brother about this. I do think it's kind of poetic that One Piece is one of the big three in terms of anime, along with Naruto and Bleach. And I just think it's kind of poetic that the first, like the one that everybody can agree is like the first Hollywood anime or manga live action adaptation that's good is one of the big three. I just think it's really cool. So maybe that'll be the next one, whether that's Bleach or Naruto. I guess we'll find out. But I personally would go for more of a, I wouldn't say middle of the road type thing, but something where I would think Attack on Titan would be good. I think that there's stuff that's so embedded in the Japanese culture that I would stay away from, unless you're going to get like Japanese people to work on it, or else it might, or else they'll do what they did with Death Note, in which case it's totally different and totally wrong. But stuff like with One Piece, where it's like a different world, it's kind of takes some things from Japanese culture, but also things from different cultures. I can see that. So Attack on Titan would be one, but I would also see things like Bleach. I think that Bleach could work. So we'll see. It would just have to be really expensive, but I think it could work. I think it'd be fun. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of enjoying the glow of One Piece, and I don't know if I really necessarily want them to do another one immediately. But that being said, guys, we're going to close it out for this week's episode, or this Sunday episode of the Otaku Experience. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you want to keep up with me outside of this show, you can subscribe to me on YouTube at Kingtanic, or follow me on Instagram at Kingtanic, or you can follow me on Twitter at Kingtanic Israel. If you're new to the Burnett Network, consider sticking around. We have a ton of great shows that you can watch every single day, including but not limited to Robservations, Ladies of the PGS, Midnight Musings, K-Pasa PGS, Architects of Imagination, Let's Get Physical Media, and of course, the Otaku Experience. And with all that being said, that'll do it for me today, guys. I will see you all on Thursday.